have to tell me that there's hair on the floor. I can see it. I'm not dumb. Like, you're trying to be condescending. You're trying to be condescending and you're trying to be funny. And it's not funny because this is my hair. Hi friends, first and foremost, I'm just gonna start off. I'm not feeling myself. I'm not feeling this hair. I'm not feeling this makeup. I am not feeling myself. I'm trying to get myself, you know, in the mood, in the groove, you know, type of deal. But I'm really not feeling myself right now. And not for nothing, my favorite rapper of life passed away. And I do feel like I don't really get too emotional or sentimental with, you know, celebrity passings, because at the end of the day, like, we don't know these people. I mean, it's sad, but like, we don't know these people. But for some reason, I got the news yesterday. Well, I got the news, but like, I saw the news yesterday, and like, it just, I'm really feeling a type of way. Like, I don't know what it is, but the passing of Young Dolph just really is such a mood killer, and just so freaking sad. It's so freaking sad. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just feeling all type of ways today, but I did want to get a video out to you guys. So, if you guys are Young Dolph fans, let me know. Like, it's crazy because it's like I don't know how to say the word very well, like nostalgia or whatever, because it's like, I remember in high school, like, he was at every party you went to, every kickback, every session, like, he was the guy that you were playing. Obviously, I'm from Tennessee, so it's like, he was really, really big in Tennessee. So it's just crazy to me, like, just going to get some cookies and you die. Like, that's so sad. So yeah, I'm feeling the type of way. I'm really feeling the type of way about that. So hopefully you and I can work together. I can give you something that'll lift your spirits, and maybe this, you know, will lift mine. I don't know, but I'm telling you, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling my hair. I'm just life. But anyways, let's go ahead and get right on into this video because I already talked enough. So this one, I'm taking it all the way back to cosmetology school. Okay, I haven't really touched much on my cosmetology school clients just because it was so long ago, and I don't feel like they're as juicy as like real salon world stuff, because you get away with a lot in cosmetology school. So I haven't really thought about this, but my memories on my phone came up, and I remember this woman, and I just hope she changed as a person. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope she changed as a person. So let's go ahead and let's take it back. So in cosmetology school, you have certain like sections of your year that you're there that mean different things. There's different phases, as they call it. So it's like intro, foundation, concepts, and masters. That's how it was when I was in school. So I was in concepts, right? So concepts was when you take clients and models, but it's not as much as when you get into masters. Once you hit masters, you're like constantly on the floor type deal. Like, it's like almost like a real salon type of day. Concepts is more so like slower pace. You maybe get like 3 clients in a week type of deal. So with this phase, even though you're like taking clients, it's still very much like the premature phases of cosmetology school and cosmetology in general, and you know, that whole thing, right? So why I got clients, like why people come in thinking that, because by the way, you get to pick who you are with. So when you make the phone call, you can pick whether you're with a master student, concept students, things like that. So just to preface that, this lady knew what she was getting herself into. I'm unapologetic about it. She knew what she was getting herself into, okay? So we are gonna name this woman Nancy, okay? So I go ahead and I'm so excited because these, you know, when you're in the classroom all day and you get told that you get to have some clients, you are on top of the world. You are over the moon, okay? So I'm so excited, so eager, so, you know, ready to take on, you know, the cosmetology world, you know? I was really into that. I had big dreams at that time. So when I saw my client, it was a root touch-up. So I'm like, okay, cool, like easy enough, boom, bang, pow, right? It's a root touch-up and a haircut. So when I'm getting ready, I have everything prepared. Like I said, I was so excited, so eager to do this woman's hair. This was one of my first clients that I've gotten. And so we get to the, like, we had a little clipboard and we had to see like what the lady's name was, their service. And so when they got there, we like, you know, we saw them. So my lady comes in, Nancy comes in, and I'm like, hi Nancy, I'm Samantha, I'm gonna be taking care of you, come follow me. That's what I always used to say. So once I get to the chair, she's like, you know, she had like a pixie cut, and it was like an icy blonde pixie cut, and it was obviously grown out. If I have pictures that I could put in here, I will put it in, but if I can't, then sorry. Because at the time, I used to put people's faces all up in the pictures. So she had like an icy blonde hairstyle, an icy blonde pixie hairstyle. So I looked at it and I was, you know, a little intimidated. But I was just like, okay, so what are we thinking about doing today? And she was like, oh, so today we're going to be doing like, I just want to retouch the blonde and refresh my haircut. So I was just like, okay, not a problem. Let me go ahead and get my educator so we could talk about it. So my educator, she was just like, okay, this is a great like learning curve for you because you get to match blondes, like, because that's really, really hard just in general, no matter how much experience you have. When somebody has previously blonde color on their hair and their hair is darker, trying to match it is usually a bit of a problem, especially when they have their hair grown out so much. So this was going to be, you know, a good learning experience for me. So I thought. So whatever. Red flag number 1 is anyone that says, I like coming to schools rather than salons because I like helping people learn. That's a lie. They are going to be the most difficult and the worst customer you will ever have. I don't care, 10 out of 10 of every time that they say that. They're lying. It's a red flag. They're ready to use and abuse you, okay? So she had mentioned that when my educator was like, okay, so what do you think we should do? And I was like, okay, so I think we should start off because it's going to be on the scalp. I think we should use like 20 volume. As soon as I said 20 volume, my educator was like, let's see, like we can start with 20. We'll go low and slow. And so the lady, Nancy, turns around while I'm talking to my educator and she was like, no, that's going to take way too long. Like I usually go ahead and do 40 volume. And my educator was like, okay, well, unfortunately, like in the salon, we don't just put 40 volume on like your scalp that way. Because, you know, Aveda is a whole different ball game. School is a completely different ball game. So like what one person would probably do at home or in a salon is not what we're doing at school. So sorry to break it to you. So my educator was like, so unfortunately, like we're not going to do 40 volume. Are you in a time constraint? Like, what's going on? And the lady was like, Nancy was like, no, I'm not at a time constraint. I'm just letting you know, like, you know, just to help her out a little bit. And so my educator was like adamant on not using 40 volume. So when we go back to the color station, she was like, don't let that lady like try to tell you what to do. If she tries to tell you to do anything other than what I'm telling you, don't do it. Because also Aveda has a cream developer that's specifically for the scalp. They don't put regular lightener on your scalp. I'm telling you, Aveda is just so the freaking most, okay? I had to do so much unlearning after leaving Aveda because it's just too much and it's just like working way harder and not smarter, but that's not the video. So the educator was basically telling me, like, we're going to start with the cream developer. This is going to go, like, really slow, but if you leave it on long enough, it's going to give you the desired results. So I was just like, okay, like, cool, boom. I go ahead and I mix the color, and I just start applying the color on her head. Like, you know, while we're applying the color, I'm just talking to her, and I'm like, oh, so where are you from? And she was like, oh, I'm from Nashville because, you know, it's the Aveda Institute in Nashville. She's like, oh, I'm from Nashville. I'm actually a songwriter. And I was just like, oh, okay, like, that's really cool. Mind you, it's just like every city has their thing, right? So like in Miami, everyone's a party promoter. Everybody knows everybody, they're a party promoter. In Nashville, everyone is a singer-songwriter. Everybody's a recording artist. Everybody, you know, is a musician. So I didn't really care. Like, you are not the first person that says that they're a musician, and you are not the last person that's going to tell me that, right? So I was just like, oh, that's cool. And she was like, yeah, I've named, like, you know, I've worked with, you know, quite a bit, like, quite big deal people. And I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like, who have you worked with? She started saying names that I have no idea. So obviously they're not that big, not playing, but like, you know what I mean? She was trying to make it seem like I'm not into country music, but like, I know Miranda Lambert, I know Blake Shelton. Those are probably like the most generic country music people ever, but like, you know, you're making it seem like you work for them, and I have no clue who you're talking about. So I was just like, oh, I'm probably unfamiliar because like I'm not really into country music. And she's like, well, that's unfortunate. And when she started doing like, well, that's unfortunate, and give me like some little attitude, I was like, okay, like whatever. So I'm starting to see that like she has a little kick to her. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So as I'm going about, you know, the service and whatnot, I put a processing cap on her head, and I'm just like, okay, this is gonna be, you know, sit for a little bit. Can I grab you anything while you're waiting? And she was just like, no, I'll be okay. Like, I'm good. So just like anybody else, like once I put the color on you, I set the timer, I'm dipping. Like, what do you want me to do? Sit next to you? And that was another thing. Oh my God, Aveda made us like give hand massages and stuff. I did not go to school to be a masseuse. That's not what I wanted to do, and that's not what I'm going to do. So I used to get in trouble a lot because of that, because I'm not gonna sit here and massage your hands while you're processing. Like, no, I'm not doing that. So I dipped, like I left. And mind you, when I say I left, I went to the break room, which was like very easily accessible. Like, it was next to the bathroom, so, you know. So, mind you, maybe 10 minutes had gone by, okay? Because I also didn't abandon my clients. I would constantly go up to them. So, maybe like 10 minutes went by. My educator comes up to me, and she was like, hey, your client is looking for you. Where have you been? And I was like, I've just been right here. It's only been like 10 minutes. Like, I just finished her. And she was like, oh, well, she came to grab me, and she said that she's been sitting here for like too long, and she wants you to check the color. So I go to her, and I go to Nancy or whatever, and I take off the processing cap. She's nowhere near close to the blonde that she wants. Like, she wants a white icy blonde. She's like an orange right now. She's not even close to being like a pale yellow. So I was just like, hey Nancy, like, I'm just checking up on your color. Like, you still need quite a bit of time to process. Is everything okay? And she was like, well, no, like, you just kind of left me, and I didn't want. I hate the cars here. Why are you doing that in the neighborhood? So she's like, oh no, like, you kind of just left me, and I just wanted to make sure that my color is, you know, coming out. And I was just like, yeah, everything's fine. Like, is your scalp okay? Are you feeling okay? Is anything itching or anything? And she was like, no, I just wanted to make sure that like my hair is processing. If the product's on your hair and you're sitting, yes, it is processed. Did you put water on it? Like, I don't know why it would just stop processing. You know, I did the chemical concoction. It's on your scalp. All you have to do is wait. So yeah, it's very much processing, ma'am. Like, just relax, okay? So I was just like, yeah, okay. Like, and then I just reapplied like a little bit of the lightener to make her feel better, just to make it seem like I did something. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna reapply it a little bit just in case, you know, some of it dried out. Mind you, it didn't, but I was just doing that just to play in her face, I guess. So she's waiting again. I was like, can I grab you anything? This is, you know, it's gonna still be a little bit longer or whatever. And she was like, can I actually like talk to your teacher? Can you bring your teacher here? So I was just like, okay, like, that's fine. So I go get my educator, and I, you know, told her like, hey, she wants to talk to you. And then she basically was telling the educator that she doesn't want to keep waiting so long, that she never usually has to wait this long for her hair to get lighter. So the educator is just like, yeah, I told you, like, we're not doing 40 volume. We're using like the cream developer. So that takes a little bit longer, but you know, I let you know that before we started the service. So basically my educator is kind of being passive aggressive with her, like, you know, you need to wait. So it gets to the point where I just kind of stayed like kind of in the area. I didn't go to the break room. I stayed more with the color area just in case, this lady wanted to go crazy again. I was there. So as I go back and I check on her, it had like a little bit more time had gone by, but not the processing time, not the total processing time. I come back to her and I was just like, oh, how are you doing? And she basically takes her own processing cap off and she was like, I think it's ready. Like, I think you can go ahead and take this out. And I was just like, I was a young little timid thing, especially like in cosmetology school. I was very self-conscious and I let people kind of like tell me what to do in like hair situations, because I just was so scared to mess up. And I'm like, well, if I listen to them, like, I'm not the one that messed up. You're the one telling me to take this off your hair. So if you want to take it off, like, okay. I never really had that professional confidence that I have now to be like, no, it's not ready, So I was just like, oh, you think like you want to go ahead and take this out? And she's like, yeah, I think it's sitting long enough. So that was my mistake. I should have never listened to her. And my educator told me not to listen to her, but I listened to her. So I was like, okay, well, let me go ahead and take you back to the shampoo bowl. Take her to the shampoo bowl. As soon as that water hit her hair, I knew that I took it off way too soon. So I go ahead and I just start rinsing it out and I just start shampooing it. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, it was not ready. Like, it was not ready at all. So I go ahead and I tell her and I'm like, I'm sorry, Nancy. Like, unfortunately, like, this isn't ready yet. Like, you still need a little bit of time like left on there. You still need another thing. This woman rolls her eyes at me and she was just like, are you kidding me? Like, how much longer did it need? Like, I was already sitting there for like almost an hour. Mind you, it was like 30 minutes maybe. And she was like, I was already sitting here for like almost an hour. Like, what? Like, are you serious? And I just stopped and I went to go get my educator. I was like, I'll be right back. So I got my educator. And so my educator kind of like scolded me. She was like, why did you take it out? You should have asked me before you did it. Like, I could have told you that it wasn't ready. So we go to the shampoo bowl and Nancy is sitting straight up in the shampoo bowl and she goes to the educator and she was like, how are you going to fix this? Like, it's not even like a little bit ready, because she had like her phone, I guess. And she was like, this isn't even like a little bit ready. So my educator was like, oh, I know, like, if you should have waited a little bit more. Like, I told Samantha that she shouldn't have shampooed it out yet. And so she basically like pops off on my educator and she was like, no, like, it shouldn't ever take this long. It doesn't ever need to take this long. And so I'm just looking at my educator. And so my educator is trying to like de-escalate the situation. She was like, okay, well, what we can do is we can either tone you down and it's not going to be like that icy of a blonde that you had, or we can reapply more enlightener and you're just going to have to wait for it to process a little bit more. And that's your only two options, ma'am. So she was like, just go ahead and put like the lightener back on. Like, let me just process it a little bit. Like, even though I shouldn't have to be here longer. And so then my educator was like, did you have like a time restraint? Like, did you have somewhere to go? And she was like, no, it's just like, I don't usually take this long. Like, my hair usually doesn't take this long. So I'm already like self-conscious like myself. And so this woman has got me on like 10 million. I'm just like, what just happened? Like, what is your problem? So when she does that, I'm just sitting here like looking at my educator. And so when we go back to the color station, my educator is basically like, just put that on there and just get her in and get her out. Like, I don't know why she's doing this. I don't know why she's acting this way. I asked her if she had a time constraint, like, whatever. And then she just told me, and she's like, don't listen to what she's telling you. So I go ahead and I process, I put the bleach back on her hair. We process it. Now it's time for her to go back to the shampoo bowl. It was light enough, okay? There was not really any drama or issue with that part. So I start washing her hair. I start shampooing it. And I told her, I said, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get your toner. She gets up again and she has water dripping all over her because the way she got up. Like, I didn't rinse her hair, or I didn't like towel dry her hair or anything. So she gets up, she has water all over. And she's like, what do you mean a toner? And I was like, a toner? Like, girl, you're blonde. Like, you should know what a toner is. Like, to even out the color. And she was like, my color's not even? And I was like, no, it's even, but just to make sure that it matches to give you like that icy white that you're looking for. And she was like, I've never, like, this is the first time, like, I've had to go through so much just to get my roots done. Like, are you serious? She's like, okay, then fine, go get the toner. And then she was like, and while you're at it, get me a towel because, like, you have water all over me. Who has water all over you? You did that. Like, I'm telling you. Y'all should understand, especially when I was in cosmetology school, the great lengths I would go not to get water on the person's neck, all the towels I would use to cover their ears so they didn't get water in their ears, like all the stuff that I did to make sure that the person wasn't uncomfortable. And she's over here talking about, oh, you got water all over me. Go, and why I did go get me a towel too. I was just like, yeah, no. So I just walked away from her and I told my educator, I was like, look, I don't know what this lady's problem is with me, but like she's being extremely rude. She's asking me why I need to get her a toner. She got water everywhere and then now she's mad that I got water on her. Like I don't understand what her issue is. And so my educator was like very like cool, calm, collected, you know, everything is kumbaya. So when I'm telling her this, she's like, Samantha, just calm down. Like, you know, sometimes like people like that, they're never going to be satisfied. And it's more of a reflection on them than it is on you. And I'm just like, I hear you. But she's getting on my last nerve and I'm about to go crazy on this woman. Like, what do I do? She's like, just, you know, put the toner on her. Like, you know, at the end of the day, she came to school. She knew exactly what she was getting herself into. So I go put the toner on this woman. I'm like waiting next to the shampoo bowl, waiting for this to process. And so my educator comes up and she was like, oh, how's the color coming along? And then the client, Nancy, she was just like, oh, is something else wrong? Is that why she called you over here? And I'm just like, so I look at my educator, I'm like, you see what I'm saying? Like, because now I'm not going to sit here and try to, like, I'm not trying to be nice to you or whatever. So when she said that, I just looked at my educator and I'm like, you see what I'm saying? And I guess she didn't catch that because she didn't say anything. Or maybe she did catch it. I don't know. So she didn't say anything. So once I go ahead, I rinse her hair out. Her hair came out fine. The color came out just fine. So we take her back to the station. So I'm asking her how she wants her haircut. And she's basically saying, like, I just want a refined version of what I have. When somebody says, I just want, like, if I go to the salon right now and they're like, oh, what do you want? And I'm just like, I just want a cleaned up version of what I have now. Meaning, I want the same thing, I just want it cleaned up. So I do this woman's pixie cut. And when I say I was so proud of the pixie cut that I did on this woman, I thought it looked so cute. I thought it was like super cute and I was really proud of myself because I had never done a pixie cut on an actual person. It was only on mannequins. So I'm just sitting here thinking like so proud of myself. I'm like, wow, this is so freaking cute. Like I love this. So I go ahead and I turn her and I was like, all right, so like what are we thinking? Like what do we think? And she's just staring at herself with the most blank stare. She's just like, it looks the same. Like, it literally, like, it just looks the same. It doesn't even look like you did anything. And I'm just like, oh, did you want, like, more taken off? Or are you wanting, like, your hair to be shorter? Because, mind you, it was already a short cut. So I'm like, did you want it to be any shorter than what it is now? And she was like, no, it's just, like, you didn't do anything. Like, yeah, you made it shorter, but it doesn't look any different. It just looks the same. To which I asked, I was like, well, you said you wanted just a refined look of what you had, so I just gave you a haircut with the same style that you have. And so she's just like feeling her hair, and she was like, I've never had so much trouble with someone before. Like, I don't get it. Like, I asked you for just a blonde. Like, I just wanted you to retouch my roots, and I just wanted a haircut. Like, I don't know. Like, this is the first time that I've ever had so much trouble. And like, I've come here so many times. Like, and so then she just points out this one girl. She was like she's done my hair. And it was just so easy. Like, I didn't have to go through any of this. It's like with you, I'm going through so much just to get something so simple done. And I'm just like, okay, like, damn, whatever. Okay, so I just was like stunned because I'm just like, wow, like, why are you being so rude? Like, okay, mind you, this was probably like my first time getting like a rude client, because I was gassed in cosmetology school. You can tell me anything in cosmetology school. Everybody loved the way I did hair. I was, you know, that girl. I was just doing this, that, and the third. And I was really like, I was gassed so much in cosmetology school. So like, this being my first time that I had somebody like being upset with me, and I was more so confused because I'm like, I don't even know why you're upset with me, because it's not like I messed up your hair. I just did something different. Like, I don't get it. So I go get my educator, and then like, as I'm going to go, I was like, you know, I'll be right back. And she's like, are you gonna get your teacher? Yeah, go get your teacher. And I'm just like, why are you being so mean? Like, why are you just being so just blatantly rude to me for no reason? So I go get my educator, and my educator was like, oh, so what's the problem? And so she was just like, I don't see, like, this took forever. This was just like the longest process ever. I've never had to deal with this, and I've come here before. And like, this haircut, like, and so my educator was like, oh, well, what's wrong with your haircut? And she's like, it looks the exact same. It doesn't look like she did anything. It doesn't even look different. And so that's when I was like, well, she asked for the same style but refined. Like, she just wanted a haircut, and there's hair on the floor. So I guess me saying there's hair on the floor, because what I was trying to say was like, there's plenty of hair on the floor, so obviously I cut something. It's not like I'm playing you and I'm just like pretending to cut your hair when I'm not doing anything. So that's what I was trying to say, and I was like, and there's hair on the floor. And that, whoa, me saying there was hair on the floor set this lady off. She was like, she stops and she turns around, because, you know, we're talking through the mirror. She stops and she turns around, and she was like, you don't have to tell me that there's hair on the floor. I can see it. I'm not dumb. Like, you're trying to be condescending. You're trying to be condescending, and you're trying to be funny, and it's not funny, because this is my hair. I came here because I wanted you to learn, but now, like, I just feel like you're just trying to make like a mockery of what I'm telling you. So then my educator, she was like, whoa. And I was like, no, if I wanted to make a mockery, like, I would have said something different. All I was saying was that there's hair on the floor. So like, and so then my educator was like, no, Samantha, let's not, like, you know, we're just gonna calm down, because at this point in time, like, yeah, I'm gonna be like, you're trying to come at me, I'm gonna come back at you. Like, don't sit here and say that I'm trying to mock you or whatever, when all I said was that their hair was on the floor. Like, relax, please. So then my educator was like, you know what, Samantha, like, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to finish this up. Can you grab me somebody else's scissors, because I'm left-handed? So she's like, can you grab me somebody else's scissors, and I'll just, you know, I'll just finish up this haircut and I'll let you go. So basically, my educator pretty much like did the haircut for me. I don't know. It looked exactly the same. I don't get it. But my educator ended up having to finish the haircut. And so she basically like told me just to like go somewhere else while she finishes this lady's haircut, because me and her, we're going tit for tat at this point, because like, I'm pissed. Now you made me mad. Before I was just kind of like, you're rude, but like, now you made me mad. So I'm sitting here and I'm talking to one of the girls, and she was just like, what happened? Because we're like at the stations next to each other. She's like, what happened? And I'm just like, I don't know. She's just being rude. Like, she's just rude for no reason. And I got over it. So then the lady, she's done with the haircut. My educator's done with her haircut, and the lady's getting up to go. And she was like, she basically made a comment to my educator, and she was like, is she still here? So, you know, me, I was just like, yeah, I'm right here. And then the educator was like, no, like, you don't need to talk to her anymore. Like, the service is done. The service has been finished. And she was just like, no, I just wanted to talk to her. And my educator was like, no, you don't need to talk to her. Like, the service is finished. Everything's been completed. Like, you're good to go. And so I'm right here, man. What are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to say now? Like, what is it? And so, do y'all know, like, after the lady left, my educator was like, oh, like, what she wanted was just completely too advanced. Like, it wasn't even, she didn't need to be coming to a school for that or whatever. She's like, but at the same time, like, you need to know how to, like, control yourself. And I'm just like, I did. That was me controlling myself. I didn't say anything out of pocket to her. I didn't go crazy on her. Like, don't sit here and try to say, like, some craziness and then get mad at me because I said that, yes, there's hair on the floor. So, obviously, like, I didn't even say, like, I didn't even get to finish, like, my smart remark. All I said was, like, and there's hair on the floor. And then she got upset because I just wanted to say, I wanted to finish my part where I'm telling you there's hair on the floor. So obviously I did something. So for you to say that I didn't do anything or your hair looks the same, like, obviously it cannot. But I didn't even get to do that. And then you get up out of the chair when you're done and you're looking for me. And I tell you, I'm here. So what's up? And then the educator made her leave. And the educator told me that I had to control myself. So that was just, I'm telling you, cosmetology school was a twilight zone for me. Because sometimes I think about it, I'm like, why did I ever let that slide? Why? Why did I ever let so many things go by? And then I'm just like, because I needed this license. So now that I have my license, I can talk about it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. Let me know what you guys think. R.I.P. Young Dolph. Still very sad about that. So anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.